morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or evening, irrespective of where you are dialing from. My name is Kenneth Amechi. I'm a professor of business and sustainable development at the University of Edinburgh, the United Kingdom. I'm also a professor of sustainable finance and governance at the European University Institute in Italy. In addition, I'm a part-time chief economic advisor to the Imo State government. So it's my pleasure to welcome you here today to discuss or deliberate on opportunities in transportation and logistics in Imo State. So this is part of our webinar series that is focused on the Imo economy. So it's my pleasure to welcome you all and hope also you enjoy it. So I have fantastic panelists, and we also have the Commissioner for Transportation, Chief Barrister Rex Anunobi, as our chief host, and I invite him to say a word before we start. Honorable Commissioner, over to you.
Yeah, good day or good morning, my co-panelists and our chief organizer, the chief economic advisor to His Excellency, Distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma on economic affairs. It's a pleasure to be part of this great session to talk about unveiling the hidden potentials in Imo economy, with emphasis on transportation and logistics and its potentials in Imo. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. So maybe, is it convenient for you to spend like 2 or 3 minutes to give us an overview of what the state is currently doing in relation to transportation and some of the ideas you have? And after that, then I'll invite our panelists to reflect on the opportunities they've seen themselves. And then toward the end, you come in again to reflect on what you have heard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me quickly observe all the protocols, although with a great respect to my good brother and a friend and a major player in the transportation industry, Mr. Frank Nech, and other panelists. Well, it is my pleasure to speak on the above subject matter as your host and in my capacity as Honorable Commissioner for Transport on the topic transportation and logistic opportunities in Imo State. Transportation, as we all know, is the physical networking of places via the movement of persons and goods from one place to another. It is also the physical link that connects customers, raw materials, suppliers, plants, warehouses, channel members, while logistics, on the other hand, involves getting products across to customers on time, in the correct quantities, in good condition, at the right places. Logistics also involves planning and overseeing transportation for the purpose of moving goods and products from one place to another. Bringing Imo State into the picture of the above definitions, I will state categorically from the outset that the shared prosperity government of Distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma inherited a terrible disorganized transportation sector in Imo State. And added to that is the northern geographical location of Imo State within the southeastern region, being the heartland and transit hub of the southeast and south-south regions, has continuously exerted much pressure on the transportation infrastructure and the urban renewals of Imo State. However, working closely with the management of the Ministry of Transport, we developed a blueprint of 22-point action plan and forwarded them to the State Executive Council for deliberation and approval. And the entire plan, as proposed, includes the establishment of exit and terminal motorparks within and along the 5 major roads transiting into Owerri capital city: the Owerri-Aba Road, Owerri-Okigwe Road, Owerri-Mbiso-Maya Road, Owerri-Port Harcourt Road, and Owerri-Onitsha Road. This was strategically conceived to decongest traffic in Owerri municipality, which happens to be the capital city. Other actions proposed in the 22 action plan include the revival and reposition of Imo State Traffic Management Authority. And this was a law that was enacted and passed by Imo State government since 2011, but has not been operational. Imo State Commuters Manifest Scheme, also a law enacted and signed by the governor since 2008. The law, as a matter of fact, is law number 10 of 2008 that deals with Commuters Manifest Scheme, and in cases of accident, compensation to accident victims arising from death or heavy injury, then automation of motor licensing and administration, repositioning and rebranding of the state-owned transport company, that is Imo Transport Company, ITC, recertification of private transport companies, installation of road signs and traffic signposts on major roads and streets in Owerri capital city, granting of waivers to heavy-duty and articulated trucks transporting perishable and essential goods and products and others on emergency to enter and exit Owerri capital city during the daily restricted hours of 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Retraining of vehicle inspection officers, VIOs, to ensure efficiency in the routine inspection of vehicles and automation of vehicle roadworthiness. Data capturing of all commercial vehicles through drivers and painting of the state color as provided by law number 3 of 2007. That's law with this with regulation and control of public transit operations within the states. That's law number 3 of 2007. And this for security and administrative purposes, among others. Ministry of Transport, Imo Ministry of Transport, being a service provider and a regulatory ministry, keyed into the unprecedented road revolution of His Excellency to drive its transportation programs and policies. Today, Imo State, which is strategically the hub of economic activities, given its central location in Southeast and South-South zones of Nigeria, is providing accessible and motorable road networks for transporters to connect other states in the regions without hitches. This is evident given the massive construction of federal and state roads, including the Owerri-Olu, Owerri-Okigwe, Owerri-Mbi-Sumwahia road that will be flagged off on Tuesday next week. Amid challenges, the Ministry of Transport under my watch has taken giant steps towards implementing some of the proposals enlisted in the 22-point action plan to create an enabling and favorable environment and logistics companies to thrive in Imo State. Specifically on road transportation, the Traffic Management and Control under the newly revived Imo State Traffic Management Authority, ISMA, has restored sanity and discipline on the roads of Owerri and the state at large. The Ministry of Transport, ISMA, has mounted road signposts to guide motorists and road users entering and exiting the capital city. This is as the urban renewal program of His Excellency has strategically provided and eliminated the serenity, as well as entrenched an excellent traffic control mechanism via modern traffic lights mounted in the interchange locations that replaced the old-fashioned roundabouts in Owerri capital city before now. The Ministry of Transport has also redefined its public and private engagement approach by ensuring a sustained collaboration in the transport sector. This collaboration stretches to the joint management of Commuters Manifest Scheme to ensure commuters are compensated in case of accidents and any unforeseen occurrences. Such collaboration has further helped the Ministry of Transport to share and exchange ideas with relevant agencies, private transport companies, and critical stakeholders on safety, and mostly as it affects transportation and logistics in Imo State. It must also be interesting.
Commissioner, maybe we can stop there for now, and then I will invite you back. So I think our audience has listened to what you have said so far and what the government is doing. But let's listen to them, also the panelists, so they can help us identify where the opportunities are and possibly where the bottlenecks are, so you can further reflect on those towards the end. So I'll bring you back, Honorable Commissioner. Thank you for that,
no problem.
Being insightful. So let me go.
No problem. Although we'll have some critical areas we would have highlighted before they come in, but all the same, let them come in.
Yes, yeah. So I think some of those things will come through. But let me go straight to Dr. Choma and so forth. Doctor, please, do you want to introduce yourself briefly and then help us reflect on some of the opportunities you see? So what you do and then the opportunities.
Okay, good morning. Glad to be part of you. So I'm Dr. Choman Sof. I'm a medical practitioner, and as well I run a logistics company that at the moment we are specialized on last mile delivery. Without further ado, here the commissioner has already explained what logistics is all about. So Natal Logistics is based here in Owerri, and we are specialized in picking up from the distribution hubs down to the last leg of the journey, the consumer. And I can say logistics is a lucrative business. It's a green land. A lot has to be done, so much unharvested. But then there are challenges. So when coming in, you need to prepare for the bottlenecks and as well the good aspects. Talking about the challenges, we have the external and the internal, basically, where you have the external has to do with security, the issue of security, and this Monday sit at home.
Sorry, before we get to that, right? So let's focus on the opportunities. I think we'll talk about the challenges in a moment. But going back to your point about how you operate, you said you're into distribution. So do you want to break it down in such a way that the man on the street or a lay person will understand it? So what exactly do you do?
Moderate to small items, moderate to medium to small items from the distributors to the last leg.
Give me an example of a distributor and the last leg, so that somebody will understand.
I think the most common one people are used to is when you have to do with the food industries, where people tend to stay in their homes. These days, everybody wants to have whatever they want in their house, where you can stay in your house and make order from any eatery of your choice, and it's being picked up from your house straight to the consumer, or from the place of business to the consumer. Or in cases people can stay in the house these days and shop and have it delivered to their house from the point of business straight to their doorsteps.
So in a nutshell, what you do then is that you can help people make their engage in e-commerce. So let's assume I stay in my house and I want to order food. I place that order. The hotel can invite you as the logistic person to help move that food or item from the hotel to me, bring it to me in my house. Is that what you're saying here?
Exactly. In your house or in your place of work or wherever you are. So okay, it's simply moving item, yes. And okay. One of the advantages is the ease of business. People are able to sell out more because usually people have the problem. Sometimes people need an item and the trouble of driving all the way down. So people are able to sell out more, the ease of business, and the comfort, the fact that you get it at the comfort of your home is also a plus. Another plus is the fact that for those small items that tend to use bike, traffic is not a factor. So you're also sure you could get your item at the shortest possible time. So these are part of the advantages of last mile delivery.
So what's the size of your business? How many, do you have motorbikes or cars or what is it like?
Okay, we have cars, we have tricycle, we also have bikes. So we have about 10 running on the streets. We have the, that's aside the office people, because of course, some people have to stay back to the office because. We also we've keyed into the technology aspect, although it's not fully running because we are trying to understand the terrain of the business before fully launching our mobile apps and all that. So we have the bikes.
How much does it cost? I mean, how much does it cost to start? I think somebody wanted to start today, right? What would you advise the person to do? So is it a question of if you have 200,000 naira, you can buy a bike and then start with that? What do you need to do to start?
Like I said initially, logistics is a serious business. It's not something you just wake up and buy a bike. If not, after 2-3 months, you will also go home, you pack up. So if you want to start, I'll advise to start small because you need to learn in the job, or preferably even work in a logistics company so you can get knowledge. You don't have to make all the mistakes yourself. So if you're starting small, you could probably start with 2-3 bikes and see how it goes from there. But there's so much. Logistics is such that you have to actually get into it to understand it. It's not something you can do from far. It's a very serious business. And managing of logistics business, when you talk about the riders, is one hell of a work.
Okay,
so it's not just to be able to buy bikes, but managing it is where the problem lies.
Okay, Brilliant, brilliant. Let me go to Austin Odomo. Do you want to please introduce yourself briefly, what you do, and the possible opportunities you see in Imo State?
Okay, thanks, Prof, and thanks, panelists. My name is Austin Odomo. I work for Coca-Cola. We bought Coca-Cola, we distribute Coca-Cola. We have a plant in Imo State. So it's a major hub that we have in the eastern part of the country. Now, that is about me. Speaking to the topic, the very interesting topic that Chioma raised. Prof, thank you for bringing this up. We're talking about last mile delivery. There's something we call out of home and home consumptions, right? At home, where you are, in the office, on the market, in the marketplace, so anywhere at all that you are, we should be able to reach out to you. Most companies are interested in reaching out to. I'm actually interested in talking about the opportunities that we have in Owerri and the business that we can actually, the opportunities that are found in Owerri. The challenges are there, but I think focus is around the opportunities that indigenes and whoever is within the region can actually take. Speaking to the last mile delivery, Dr. Chioma spoke to what it's all about. I was talking about out of home and actually consumption at home and consumption out of home. Anywhere you are, we should be able to reach out to you. One leg that she didn't talk about is also reaching out to the remote areas that we have within the city, outside the hinterland. You need a tricycles to be able to reach out. Challenge with the big companies today is their inability to reach out to those hinterland. And the reason is very simple. They maintain bigger vehicles to deliver their product. They have different route to market. Route to market, you have dealers who in turn now go back to, reach out to the retailers, of course, to the final consumers and all of that. But of course, in the space of the last mile, it's not in all cases that the wholesalers are able to reach out to the remote and the remotest part of the locations that the hinterland that you will have. So what we need the last mile delivery businessmen to do is to be the final touch between the company and the consumer. We want to be able to reach out to the consumer. So we need the players in that space. Do we have the opportunity? Yes, we have opportunities a lot, actually. I know for sure my company would need persons that will be ready to go to the hinterland to deliver product. Of course, I know Nigeria Breweries and others players in the food and beverage and outside food and beverage will also be willing to transact in that space. So it would be nice to see individuals that are ready to play. Prof, speaking to what is required to set up the company, Chioma was talking about it's not a small business, it's not a child's play, it is not. But you can actually start small. Start with 500 square meter warehouse, for instance, or even 400 square meter warehouse. Or you need to have a roof over your head. The product is safe. You have insurance that will guide, of course, that will take care of risks that you are eventually going to go into because it's risky. If you're going to be doing the last mile delivery, you'll be delivering product to the consumers and all of that. Anything could happen. The commissioner talked about road infrastructures. There could be safety infractions on the road and all of that. So certainly you need to be able to ensure the product, ensure the warehouse and the product and the entire process, the entire value chain, getting to the final consumer. So certainly is a massive space that we have opportunity and a lot of players, medium, small, and large scale individuals who want to play will certainly want to come in and be ready to make a business and make money.
Also, let me ask you a very practical question. So if I'm a small business in Imo State or I have money to invest, what is the process if I want to approach MBC or the likes of whether Dangote or even Nigerian Breweries? What would, in your own company, what would I need to do and where do I meet you?
What you need to do, we have got different, we are in supply chain end to end, logistics is there. The department to really reach out to a supply chain. Of course, logistics will be there to attend to your request. And all you need is reach out. Owerri is a plant. We have a plant, a massive plant for that matter in that state. reach out to the transportation manager. Should be able to direct to the appropriate portal, and all the requirements, of course, communicated, and we'll take it from there.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So it's that simple, right? So,
Yeah,
and,
very simple.
okay, so in case anyone is listening, please, I mean, your office, isn't it? So they can go there and ask questions. Where is the office, by the way?
It's somewhere at Ireti, go on Were Road there.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. So let me move over to Mr. Frank Nnej. Please, can you introduce yourself? I know you're a veteran in the space, and then talk about the opportunities you see for Imo State.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you, Honorable Commissioner, for your intro.
Maybe you need to be closer so that we can also hear you. Your voice is a bit low. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for the opportunity, and the intro by the Honorable Commissioner is quite exciting. My name is Frank Nnej. I am the founder of ABC Transport. We've been in this business for 30 years, starting up in Owerri, Imo State, and we have about 75 locations, including Accra, Benin Republic, and so on. Looking at the opportunities, as the commissioner has highlighted, I think one takeaway and one attraction for Imo State is its central location for logistics. We usually talk about the centrality of Imo State and its equidistant position to cities like Aba, Onitsha, Port Harcourt, Uyo, and so on. So what we actually need to do is to prepare the city to become the logistics hub, which I think government needs to make some input. For example, the commissioner has mentioned that Imo State is, Owerri is a transit hub. I think we need to harness this hub more effectively to be able to create jobs. And one way of doing this is the ring roads in Owerri, whereby somebody coming from Onitsha can be able to bypass, get into Aba Road and run around Owerri without actually getting into Owerri, or without actually getting restrictions. It's something we can do if the ring roads are opened up, and you can even toll them. For the big vehicles that are coming from Onitsha going to Aba or going to effectively, you can even toll them. That is one way. This is organized as an opportunity. And also logistics thrives with clusters where you have market clusters like the Alaba market and the rest of them. If you have the formal arrangement where you can have deliveries made to end users using an organized system, that can also create jobs. The gentleman from Coca-Cola has talked about warehousing, and of course that drives from the location of the city. And I'm sure Coca-Cola is quite comfortable in Owerri because of its centrality, which I've highlighted. In our own business, we do that. We have two kinds of businesses. We do the trunking, whereby we have cargoes coming from as far as Lagos, coming to Owerri and continuing to Port Harcourt and stuff. At the point where it lands Owerri, we need to do last mile distribution. And this is an opportunity for people who have bikes. I think Natol, there was a time we were in touch with you about redistribution to end users. But what I'm saying is our opportunity. So if you have more companies who take advantage of Owerri coming here and then the redistribution, our young people can get into that space and create some jobs for themselves. So these are some of the opportunities which are not exhaustive.
should bring their headquarters here, just like ABC Transport.
Hello, I think we lost Frank. I don't know whether it's from my end. I was hoping to hear him, but I think he's raised some interesting points. So maybe the question I wanted to ask him is whether people like Chioma and others can come to him, or I mean his company, in this case ABC, and what will be the process of doing that? Maybe when he comes back on, I will be able to explore that with him. But let me go straight to Chioma again. I mean, you talked about the personnel challenges. So yes, one thing is to set up the business, but how do you also ensure that you have good maintenance of your, vehicles, as well as the manpower or human resource to make them work? How do you see an opportunity there, or it's more of a challenge?
Of course, there is an opportunity. Challenges are meant for the living. So in terms of maintenance of the vehicle, I think different companies have different methods they use. One can also adopt the method of having a personal maintenance person or body or something that handles your vehicles and your motorcycles. Reason being that when you have too many hands, too many hands for all the soup. That's one. Then another way to solve the problem is possibly one of the biggest problems in terms of logistics when you have to do with the last is riders. Hello?
Yeah, sorry about that, Flip.
Okay.
No problem, Mr. Frank Neja. I'll come back to you in a moment. But let's, Chioma is trying to explain some things. Yeah. Chioma, carry on.
Yeah, so one of the issues you tend to have when you have to do with the last mile delivery are the riders. And I think even in the transportation business, the problem is the drivers. If one can create like a training school for these riders where you have them and ensure you have qualified drivers, because these days they just walk in and the next thing, that way, when you have good training, it will also help to reduce accidents on the road. And at the same time, their attitude to customers. So training the riders is definitely one way to reduce it. Those are the internal challenges. I said we have the internal and the external challenges.
So what you're saying in essence is that if you could find somebody who trains these riders, that's an opportunity for that person, but it's also an opportunity for you in the sense that you can easily hire your riders to support your business. So there is another business for people who can train the riders. But Austin, let me go to you. Given you're a big business and you have trucks and all sorts, you also see an opportunity in this area in terms of manpower development.
In fact, Prof, thanks again, and Dr. Chioma, thank you for raising this point. If there is the fundamental challenge that we have with transportation, logistics generally, is actually the skill set of the existing drivers that we have. It's always a big deal. One thing that I'll say for free is that today what we are doing, because we have seen that as a major challenge, traffic challenges, and of course road traffic accidents, continuous safety infractions in and out of the factory is a big challenge that we have. And what we have done as a business is to start looking forward to individuals and companies that are ready to now train drivers, give them skill sets that is required for them to be able to man a vehicle. Of course, in our space, we even give a sort of reward drivers, reward companies that are able to provide drivers that are able to have to drive 7 kilometers for a particular period without safety infraction. Because consequences of so certainly we always look forward to the Driver Institute, those that are willing to invest in training drivers. One thing I assure everybody, the fact that within this space, the business is massive. A lot of us, the breweries and of course the Coca-Cola of the world and the other players, they continue to go to the market for drivers. So the challenge, I tell you for free, is that the drivers that we have today are not so good. So anybody at all is set up a training company to upskill the drivers that we have in the system today will be a wonderful business for whoever is venturing into that.
Okay, great. So I think there's a bit of echo coming in, and I've told the technical guys to look into that and make sure whoever is not speaking is on mute. So I think you raised a very fantastic point there. I think, Mr. Frank Ineji, you have a business opportunity there too. From the look of things, you have a driver's training academy, right? Do you want to talk us more about that and the opportunities you see?
Yeah, thank you very much. Our academy actually started from the from the identification of the need for the gap in provision of drivers and equipping them with technical skills. So what we've done is that people who are able to drive small vehicles, we're able to upgrade them to drive articulated vehicles. And this over time has produced drivers from the industry. But I will tell you that in that space, the number of people we're able to produce is still not enough for the industry because people always want to look for greener pastures. Anytime there is opportunity outside the country, people want to go and seek greener pastures. But there's an opportunity there for upskilling drivers and getting them to the standard that would be required by the multinationals. Yes, we do that at the Driver Training Academy here in Owerri.
Okay, and you also say you train people not only for the Nigerian market, sometimes some of them can be trained even to go abroad. So we also need the foreign remittances, right?
Yeah, we'll have a couple of our people who have gotten jobs in England, even this year alone, because our certification is accepted in Europe. So there were quite a lot of people there. But like I said, it is a very, very important and key skill in logistics. And you can never have right now enough skilled drivers who meet the quality standard, the safety standard, and that. So it's one area that is not an issue and that prevents people from meeting the logistics needs.
Okay, fantastic. So what you're saying there is that if you're interested in a training school, a driver training school, there's a big opportunity. And you can also train people that will work for the likes of Nigerian Bottling Company, Nigerian breweries, and the rest, and even the Dangotes of this world. So that's an opportunity there, not only for the Imo State market, but you can also be in Imo State and serve Nigeria and beyond. But that's on the driving side of things. Austin, do you want to come in?
I want to just make a point here. This the business opportunity that we have in that space. Thanks, Frank, for this for setting up that academy. The business opportunity I see there is actually we have labor providers in the market today. A lot of HR consultancy here and there, and what they do basically is to provide labor. The opportunity I see here with what he is saying, there could be a businessman who is willing to go into providing labor, providing drivers. You might not have what it takes to train drivers. You can connect with Frank, for instance, to train the drivers that you're required to feed Coca-Cola, to feed Nigeria Breweries, to feed Dangote. And what do you get? You also have your service fee that certainly the business will be paying you. So it's a massive business. I tell you for free that indeed, if you can provide like 500 drivers, for instance, I know Frank is saying that the academy they have cannot train so much, but it's something that we can venture into. You can also learn from Frank. You can learn from the other academy. I know for a fact there is an academy in Lagos. Their job is to train drivers. They have simulators they use in training drivers. With a simulator, you're able to test the skills and the behavior of drivers on the road, and all of that. So it's one opportunity that I needed to call out for whoever is interested in investing in this space.
Okay, fine. So how much does a driver earn? Because some people might think, oh, driving is not a posh job. I'm a graduate. You know what I mean? So if it's professionalized, I think people can go into it. And how much do you think an average driver will earn if they go through this process?
I should take first, right? Or Frank?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
For sure. I know drivers in my company that earn as much as 200, 150, 100K. It depends on your productivity, right? There are things that drive how much you go home with. We have the very basic salary that you must go home, whether you drive or not. We have the very basic, I think it's around 50 to 60 or so. But beyond that, we have the variable part, which is speaking to productivity, which is speaking to driving without safety infractions. You can go as high as 200, 150, even more than that. So it's as simple as that. You only need to have the right driver with the right attitude, right skills to drive without safety infractions. Then you earn as much as you can. So it all depends.
Without necessarily putting Chioma on the spot, because her business model is different, right? So you're thinking about big businesses here, but the likes of Chioma will also need to start small and do what works for them, and probably grow to be able to afford to pay that kind of money. But I think Chioma runs a business that is also responsible and sustainable to be able to accommodate that. So Chioma, do you want to reflect on this idea of drivers and how they can be part of your success?
Okay, like what he said, one thing that's going to help in this area is having to train drivers and riders. They are all in the same category. But however, for the riders, they earn a little lower because the job is a smaller job. That notwithstanding, like he mentioned, even the a training school for riders, I think is a very good business anybody can look into to create. It definitely would sell, because if you have riders, I know lots of people that are into logistics and eventually had to back down because of the problems of riders. So it's something good one can think about, yeah.
Okay, fine. So let me go straight to Frank here in terms of the maintenance, because there is also a business opportunity there. And I know some people, today is Saturday, they may spend the time with the mechanics because they have to be there, right, to repair their cars. And I suspect, for somebody who has many cars or many vehicles that are doing logistics, you don't want to spend your weekend with mechanics, right? So you need professional people. So, Mr. Frank Nneji, do you see that opportunity in Imo State when it comes to car maintenance or vehicle maintenance? What is it like? Sorry, you may want to unmute yourself, Mr. Frank. I think you're still muted. Maybe let me go to Austin. Okay, you're back. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, what I'm saying is that apart from the opportunities for drivers, there is also great opportunity for maintenance, because for vehicles to be roadworthy, they have to be maintained by professional staff, especially the kind of vehicles that is being used in modern times. So you find out that our educational institutions here, like the polytechnics, they produce basic graduates in automobile engineering that can be upscaled to be able to fit into this area of maintenance. So any person who has a professional maintenance service can key into the logistics sector by providing for the operators maintenance under a service agreement or under an ad hoc maintenance agreement. So this is a great opportunity. And like we said, these opportunities will come to be within Imo State if we are able to harness the potential of our location as a logistics center using the location of Imo State. So we can have quite a lot of these redistribution centers centered around here. Of course, if they are centered around here, they're going to have their maintenance also around Imo State here. So getting our people prepared for this as government is preparing to open up this sector is one area I would advise. So certainly there's a big opportunity in a maintenance. Either
what if you look at places like Nekede, is it Nekede Mechanic Village? I don't know if it's still there, right? So hopefully it's still there. Yeah, so, but how professional is it? Can you take your vehicles there? I mean, Chioma, do you use them? Austin, would you invite people there? So I think I'm thinking of the professionalization of this maintenance space. So if you're in Imo State, what would be the, where would you send your vehicles to? What are the professional garages you can send your vehicles for maintenance? Do you have those?
Yeah, well, if I may take that, apart from the mechanic villages, There are some professional outlets. Like if you go on Port Harcourt Road, you see a couple of professional outlets that do services for exotic cars, for trucks, using the computerized equipment and the rest of them. There are quite a couple of them I know on Port Harcourt Road, further down towards Avo and the rest of them on 2 sides. So some of these people, even in the mechanic village, any person who decides to upgrade his skill can be able to offer services to organize a logistics company. So it depends on the level of service you are providing. So it's not
Okay.
where you are located.
Okay, fine. Austin, how do you see that space from where you stand?
Yeah, where I stand is also one very green land, green space that people need to start thinking. You know, if you see what the evolution of transportation of vehicles that we use, especially the articulated vehicles in the system today, we're moving away from the European vehicles to the Chinese truck, right? And they're all over the place now. If you see the type of vehicles that Dangote is using today, they are more of Chinese vehicles. We're also transiting from the European vehicles to Chinese vehicles. Now, what will be good for whoever is interested in venturing into this space is to learn the technology, learn from the OEMs, the manufacturers of these vehicles, and they're all over the country. We have got not all over, just a few places in Nigeria today. Sino vehicle, for instance, is all over now. Do they have the capacity to maintain all the vehicles that they are bringing into the system? They don't. That is a simple truth. Now, what that means is that if individuals who are ready or set of persons that are ready to set up a mechanic village or a mechanic workshop, a maintenance workshop, you know, a fleet maintenance workshop, then it's something you can venture into. Partner with the OEMs like Sino, like Tata, go learn. It should transfer the technology or the speed, whatever it is, the skills to be able to maintain their vehicle. And you can be situated somewhere in Imo. You can be somewhere within the Imo State or in the eastern part of the country. As we send in vehicles to that place, instead of asking Sino to move away from Lagos to set up a workshop in Imo, we have got somebody. There should be somebody there who is willing and ready to give us that professional service. All I want is someone that is capable, someone that is actually confirmed and certified by Sino, by Tata or Photon, or whichever kind of Chinese vehicle that we have today. Frank will agree with me, a lot of Chinese vehicles are all over the place now. Beyond Chinese vehicle is also the smaller, the light vehicles that Chioma deals with. It's also one space that you can learn. If you're able to learn the technology, learn everything about the vehicle, you can set up a workshop and you'll see individual companies that will be ready and willing to patronize you. But certainly you need certification from the OEMs.
I think what you're also saying here, which also makes a lot of sense, is that think about your Federal Polytechnic Nekede or FUTO that have mechanical engineering. They can also reach out to these OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, and have a relationship with them. So when we train our engineers, so these engineers themselves can end up setting up these companies, right? So we don't need to leave maintenance to say people at a certain educational qualification.
Correct.
There is a space for graduates who can be entrepreneurial, set up their businesses and apply their skills in that sense. But if the universities and tertiary institutions are able to plug into that, that's a great opportunity. But let me turn to the Honorable Commissioner. I mean, maybe he's taking a lot of notes now. Honorable Commissioner, maybe you want to unmute yourself. One of the things when I listen to participants talk about is the issue of taxation and all sorts of things thrown at them by the government, right? So I don't know if you have any reflections of that. Maybe Chioma can maybe enumerate the number of issues she has in terms of double taxation or multiple taxation. What is the state, I mean, one, do you recognize that problem? And two, what is the state doing about that? You want to unmute yourself, Honorable Commissioner. Honorable Commissioner, you're yet to unmute.
Please, can you come
okay.
again?
Yeah, so my question is that there could be
Can you come again?
there could be some challenges in terms of multiple
Hello?
taxation.
Can you
Yeah,
hear
I can
me?
hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you come again?
Yeah, I said that there could be issues with multiple taxation in case of people who are in this business in Imo State.
Okay,
And
thank
they
you.
sometimes also they complain that they've been harassed by different agents or
Yeah.
agencies. So I'm just wondering, one, do you recognize that problem or a challenge?
Yes,
And
yes,
two,
yes,
what
yes.
is the
Yeah.
state doing about it?
Those are part of the challenges that come before us, and we'll do our best to address them. But before I go into that one, I'm very happy that a lot of issues were raised, especially the one raised by Mr. Frank Nneji on the possible way to finally decongest the capital city because of its transit nature. And as the population is growing, the roads are not growing. So we have to be creative. And he talks about the Owerri ring roads. That's the outer and inner ring roads. And it is part, I'm assuring him that it's part of the ambitious road revolution of His Excellency. The outer and inner ring roads, they were there in the larger Owerri master plan. And it took the administration of Ikedo Hakim to start it, but that administration was short-lived. Unfortunately, the administration after him abandoned that laudable project, and we found ourselves in the mess before His Excellency took over. So the roads the governor is doing now are part of the first phase, and I'm sure the heavy transporters like ABC, Chisco, Dangote, them that are into heavy-duty trucks crisscrossing the entire southeast, that the outer and inner ring roads that will free the capital city from congestion is part of the larger vision of His Excellency's road revolution. Then the issue of training and retraining drivers. I'm happy that Choma, one of the panelists, raised the issue, and every other panelist re-echoed it. Yeah, under our action plan with the Federal Road Safety Commission and driving schools in Imo State, we have been meeting, and there is a scheme launched by the Federal Road Safety Corps. They call it Driving School Standardization Program Scheme. It is geared towards training and retraining drivers, and it is a collaborative arrangement. And myself, as the Commissioner for Transport, is the chairman of that scheme. It's a scheme from the FRSC, and it's geared towards Drivers Institute, which we hope to establish at ITC as a government program. It doesn't stop private sector to equally provide similar institute, but we are working with the driving schools in Imo State, and very soon everything will be in place. One challenge we have in this area is most of these heavy transport companies, we need stakeholders engagement. Most times when we invite them for meeting to unveil government programs, they do not respond. And even
so let's
when
ask Frank Nneji, yeah, I mean,
yes. He's operational manager, Mr. Rex, my namesake. Once in a while he do attend. But
and
when
then MBC is also there.
Yes, when they attend meetings, then we can be able to look at holistically the prospects and the challenges and where we want to get to. So I encourage them using this medium to encourage them to attend meetings, because we are there for them. We're a regulatory agency. We are not really in the field except our ITC that government used to showcase what to expect from all these private companies. So that is
that. Before you wrap up, let me even ask you a question.
Let me raise this one. For the logistic companies that use Okada within the capital city, you know there is a restriction on Okada flying within the capital city. Then if they have branded Okada to enable them to take their goods from one point to another, they need to come and identify with the ministry. Ministry of Transport is the only ministry, MDA, or government parastatal, charged with transportation. But most times you see them By the time you accost them, they say that they have gotten one approval or the other from a nearby local government. There is no transport department in local government. Transportation is a state issue, and we'll continually advise them. So I will encourage the logistic companies that use branded riders within the capital city to try and come to the Ministry of Transport to register and get the operational permit that is renewable every year. And
what is the process? Is it difficult? Because sometimes
no, it's not difficult. It's something that you start today, you end it tomorrow with the Treasury single account. Everything is in the budget.
And how much is it?
No, for transport companies like ABC, the ones that are not registered before now, registration is only 250,000. You can see, no matter how big they are, because Imo State need them more than, we need them more than even they did, because we know too that they are the employers of labor. They add to the economy of the state. Then for
one of the likes of German that has more
for logistic companies, no, for logistic companies, I cannot tell you for sure here the rate for their registration, but they need to come, but it will be less than that of the big companies. And renewal every year is 150,000. And most of them for the past 4 years since the inception of this administration, 2019, or let's take 2020, but the administration started 2019, but let's say 2020 when His Excellency took over. From 2020 to today, most of them are in breach. So when they come and register, they'll be able to have that statutory partnership to now dialogue with the Ministry of Transport and get some of these teething problems solved. And one other area I want to touch, excuse me, is the AVU mechanic they raised. We don't have a naked mechanic now. The government before moved mechanics to have, and I'm happy that Mr. Frank Nech appreciates what they're doing over there. So I encourage all the transport companies to do their best to go to AVU whenever the need arises for them not to.
Yeah, Honorable Commissioner, a quick one. When you talk about that the local governments don't have a responsibility, is it also for the state government to let them know that because what they are doing is that they intimidate these riders and force them into acquiring even because when we talk about Owerri, you're talking about Owerri, not Metropolis and Owerri.
Yeah, you're very correct.
So they have pushed these companies to
taking our enlightenment program up to the local governments, especially Owerri Municipal, Owerri North and Owerri West, where we will see such incidences. And then no too, but you know at times you cannot still remove the fact that these practices have been there before we came in. So, but this present government is doing its best to correct it.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. I think that's been useful. I know we have like 7 more minutes to go. I see Kenneth Nwebe's hand up. Can we allow him?
No, sorry. On the issue of waiver for heavy duty vehicles, because there is a restriction because of the congestion we witness in the morning hours and afternoon. That's why we put restriction for heavy duty vehicles, articulated vehicles between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. But now it has been extended to 8 p.m. For companies that are on essential duties, let them come. We'll give them, we'll process their permit, we'll give them for the whole year. And they just pay a little assessment fee. And all these things are paid direct into TSA. And I'm very glad that companies like Nigerian Breweries, companies like Coca-Cola and others, ABC, that have been paying better.
What is the process, Honorable Commissioner? Because
the process is very simple. I'm
happy
that
do they come to your ministry?
Yes, they write for waiver. They write application for waiver addressed to the Commissioner for Transport, and we have our committee in the ministry. Within 24 hours, it will be assessed. And I'm happy that the honorable member representing Coca-Cola in this panelist can be able to tell you. They don't have
fine. We have 5 minutes. Honorable Commissioner, let me bring in Kenneth Nwebe quickly. Do you want to use like a minute? Because otherwise the radio station will kick us out. So. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Do you have a question or a comment, Mr. Nwebe?
Just a comment, Prof.
Okay, please.
Yes. Can I go on?
Yeah, just go on. You have a minute, please.
Okay. My name is Kenneth Nwebe, MNI, retired Deputy Corps Marshal of Federal Road Safety Corps. I want to commend the initiative, and to the commissioner, I say well done. I remember saying kudos to him when he brought in the issue of designating some routes in Owerri. And then to Frank Nneji, we've come a long way when he started the ABC, when I was sector commander in Imo about 30-something years ago. So my idea is this, please, Imo State and especially Owerri stands a very good chance of being actually the transport hub in the southeast. And I think if we do all that is required, that can be easily achieved.
I think we are having a problem with that
A
line.
long way we
Okay.
desire the life of the person. One of
Okay, fine. So let's move on.
the
Chairman,
things I want the transport commissioner to consider as outside where there are vehicles that could be to come into Owerri. By the time they get to the rest area and drop the passengers, the local transport system taxis can pick them to their various destinations. That in a long way will help to reduce traffic congestion within the Owerri municipal. And for the safety, the traffic safety management of
we need to stop because of time, Mr. Nwebe. The line is not too good, but Chairman, you wanted to come in quickly. Let's bring you in a minute. Yes, Chairman, go for it.
Okay, I just to buttress the point Mr. Frank raised about the local government people being aware that they don't have a right for this taxing, because one of the biggest problems we have is a disorganized multiple taxing system. You have them, even here in the municipal, you have different groups coming up every day, and the use of unclassified individuals. I think that really has to be looked into. You know, multiple taxing system, let's have a body responsible for this. So you don't have to move from place to place. And classified individuals, not using, what do you call it, maybe roadie individuals and all that. So I needed to emphasize on it. That will really help the business.
Okay, great. So thank you all. I think we have 2 more minutes to go. Honorable Commissioner, do you want to say, some closing remarks? But just in a minute, so we can, stick within the time. You want to unmute yourself, sir? So, Honorable Commissioner, you want to unmute yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, please, Choma raised a very vital issue. Please, Imo State is running a Treasury Single Account, TSA. Imo today is cashless. So when such individuals come to you to know that they are fake, insist that you must pay into the TSA of the government. You go to the bank, pay, and it will generate. You see that they will run away. They will encourage you to give them cash. Even at the Ministry of Transport is cashless. We only assess you, you pay, and when we confirm from the IRS, then we'll issue you the necessary permit. But on our own part as a government, because government is one, we have written them, and they have stopped forthwith. But you know at times you might run into criminals, thinking that they are representing the government, but they are not representing the government.
Okay, thank you very much, Choma. I think that's useful information. Mr. Frank Nneji, thank you. You raised the issue of warehousing. Austin also raised it. There are many opportunities that have been highlighted. So if you're thinking of going into the manpower side of things, whether it is about drivers or maintenance, these are opportunities. If you want to go into logistics, that's also great. One that we have not mentioned is the issue of things like Uber and how we can leverage the digital to do that. But I think that's an opportunity others may also want to consider. For the interest of time is usually not our friend when we talk about some of these things. We come to the end of it, and I wish to thank my panelists and also thank the radio stations Osiza FM and Orient FM, and also my team, Javita Agu and Adeza Shaheme, for putting this together. So I see you in a fortnight, and then we'll be discussing about, we'll be talking about opportunities in the entertainment sector. So Honorable Commissioner, thank you for your time, and I wish you all a pleasant weekend. Bye-bye.